page-turners. You're listening to Pages Across the Prairies with Adriana
and Christine,
your virtual book club where two besties dive into stories and spill all our thoughts.
Think of it like your coziest book club, but without the dress code. So grab your book, pour your favorite drink, and let's talk chapters.
Hi, so this is our spoiler-free version of our podcast where we'll be discussing Slashed Beauties by A Rushby.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm going to jump in and give you a little summary of this book before we just talk about the other little bits and bobs. All spoiler-free, of course. So, summary of Slashed Beauties by A Rushby is: antiques dealer Alice acquires a set of eerie 18th century wax figures called the Anatomical Venuses, rumored to come alive and kill the men who wrong them. This novel bounces between her and Eleanor. Eleanor is set in the centuries earlier, in 1763 London. Eleanor is drawn into a dangerous world of courtesans and secrets, where beauty and betrayal intertwine. As Alice uncovers the Venus' origin, the women's stories collide in a dark Gothic tale of power, revenge, and the haunting legacy of the women who refused to stay silent.
Oh, I like that. That's good. Okay, so I have finished the book and you have not quite yet.
Right, I'm halfway.
So there is one word in that whole thing that I wanted to change, and I will tell you it later. If I had told you it would spoil, I think, a little bit. So, just one word.
I'm going to, be picking apart every single word, because which one is it? Yeah, this isn't going to be an interesting, I think, spoiler-free one, because
it really is spoiler-free.
I have no idea. It better be spoiler-free, because...
Well, and then you can tell me, if I do spoil things.
Yes, that's true.
This
is going to be fun. Today. I'm going to have my ears wide open, listening.
Okay, so for this book, I am curious, do we want to start with where you rated it? And I think it would be fair to say that you get a little bit of leeway because you have not finished it completely, so you have room to change for next episode.
Yes, please. As I have no quotes yet, I have no rating. I can tell you where my rating is now at the 7.5 hour point, but literally where I stopped is where things just started getting different.
Oh. Yeah, right when it's starting to pick up, actually. And I was surprised how early.
Yeah, it's just getting going.
But I forgot I have all my quotes saved in pictures. So I have plenty of quotes. So what's your rating at right now?
So right now, I wanted to say that this book right now is reminding me of When We Lost Our Heads.
Okay,
and because it's reminding me of that, right now I'm giving this book a 7 or 8 out of 10 because it's really good, but I don't know what's coming, and I'm giving it an 8 because I'm so excited for what's going to come, but I'm also giving it a 7 because I have so much dread.
I do find very often, if you were to catch me right before all the action reaches its peak in a book, my rating's going to be higher than when I finish it.
Yeah, because you haven't gone through the emotional trauma of all these horrible words that are going to come spiraling at me.
Yeah, this one. So the author, I'm just going to jump a little bit ahead. Yeah. The author did say, because I watched her interview, she said, the horror in this book lies not so much in, graphic gore, feeling, and I'm not wording it correctly, but my takeaway is putting yourself into that character. It's the actual psychological aspects of the horror and trauma in which they're experiencing.
Yeah, to me, this feels like a true psychological thriller compared to, let's say, maybe books we haven't finished because they've just been too, I don't know what the right word is, but this one feels not to repeat myself, pure psychological.
Very often psychological thrillers, I think of them as mind benders.
Yeah, that one, Silent Patient.
Yeah, it's not, it's a bit traumatic, especially when you start to go back and live through, what she would have been experiencing at the time, but more of a mind bender.
Yes, but this one is purely an emotional, psychological, and I don't know if you found this, but I found myself feeling really my bones felt agitated, and it was portraying and projecting into my daily life, so I'm kind of glad I paused it, because it's messing with me.
Oh, it's gonna get bad, and I think especially where you are in your life right now, I think some of the things are gonna really emotionally affect you as you go on.
Right.
Sorry. I was just thinking, I was like, oh, I don't know if Adriana wants to read some of this. Because it's like, it's not. Like, it is graphic. It is quite graphic. But,
Yeah.
that's not where the true horror in this book lies.
Yeah, I'm not worried about graphics getting to me. We've read lots of graphic novels before. Like, well, not like graphic novels, but like novels that have like a lot of graphic scenes in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of doesn't faze me. But when it actually affects my day-to-day life and gets into my brain and worms its way in.
So
Your problem.
how would you say it's affected you, or like could you explain that or no?
I found myself getting a lot more just anxious, a lot more just unsettled, like in my brain. And then just this, I always have this feeling that something bad's gonna happen, but it like amplified times 100. And just like maybe I always just feel unease while I'm like at work doing a simple task that I've done 100 times. That is really not a big deal.
Yeah, I do find like sometimes with books like this, that's why I have to get through them quick, so it's like I can breathe again.
That's what I think I was trying to ask you, but I didn't word it well. Is like, did you finish this book so quickly because you had to get through it because it was so awful, or were you actually enjoying it?
No, so okay, so I understood you did word it like I understood it, and
Okay,
I
good.
think I answered it correctly.
Yeah.
This book, although it did make me feel uncomfortable, it wasn't quite like The Silent Patient to me, in which I was like, as well as God of the Woods. God of the Woods was another one that I was like, zip.
Yeah.
I could not sit in that. This one I could. I think I could have, but I don't know because I didn't try.
Fair enough. Interesting.
So my
Yeah.
rating for this one, I want to give it a 7.5, but I really like it. Have I given a 7.5? Because I think this one and When We Lost Our Heads, those are my two favorites so far since we started doing this podcast on video. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're about the same to me.
They're both set in centuries past.
Both historical fiction.
They both have a lot of similarities when it comes to brothels.
Yeah. and narcissistic characters. Like,
Yes.
characters that are hard to figure out, I feel. Like, not I mean, they're pretty, like, you know what they're gonna do, but it's like, who made you?
And it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Or they're just so infuriating that it's like that's what I found with When We Lost Our Heads. Infuriating people, and I'm finding that in this book too, where it's like I just want to like
Who's infuriating you?
just Elizabeth.
That's fair. she's quite infuriating. I like wanted to like her off the bat, but I think it's because like you're seeing the character like Elizabeth through the main character's eyes, and she did like her, so that's why she seems likable.
She's a snake. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, she's definitely a character.
Yeah.
I like a good villain. I didn't really have any feelings towards Elizabeth until the end, and I was like, oh.
I have so many questions, and I have so much I just need to listen to.
Yeah. I really do like this book, though. I'm so happy we read it.
Yeah, I love this style of book that gives you that unsettling, uncomfortable feeling that makes you really think a lot.
Yes. And it was just published September 2025. Yeah, so it's a brand new.
Wow. I feel like this book has a lot of like mournful moments because of how horrible things can be from the past. Like that's how I also felt with When We Lost Our Heads.
Yeah.
I know that's super off topic, but I just wanted to throw that out there quick before I forgot.
It's not just glamorization of the past, which is very often what we're seeing in I guess mostly media.
Yes.
Not as much in books for me anyway, not the books that I've read, but like on TV shows and stuff. A lot of glamorization.
People probably just don't want to watch it.
True. Game of Thrones is kind of like a weird mashup of like this different world and a weird past that didn't exist and stuff, but when they do show things that are so graphic, it's like...
Yeah. So with this book, did you send it to me that we should read?
I did. I had seen it under recommended, and I can't even remember what people had said, but I loved the cover, like the image of it. It reminded me of some other books I've read. I'm trying to remember them. There's another book that I've read. I'll maybe have to mention in the comments or something, but it's... So this one, like, I guess you could kind of argue that it's like a female empowerment novel in a way.
I don't see that yet, but that's okay.
Well, it's not so much empowerment, but like discussing the female issues, especially at the time. Maybe they don't leave feeling empowered, I don't know. I do know, but...
So you know.
No, that wasn't a spoiler for you because I think it's even at the end it's arguable. But I just think anything that deals with like just head on discussing issues that women face.
Yeah.
Not female empowerment, I guess. That's not the right term for it. Issues, I don't know. But anyway, it was another book and it was set in a totally different society and it had a bird cage on the front and it had a dress in it. And the character actually lived in the cage. She was like a pet. And they raised women as pets.
This is so interesting. Now I want to read that one.
It's a good book. That one, so right away I was interested in this. And now I'm kind of like, I meant to do more research on it, but this idea of like this little pet bird thing, because there are a couple singers who have also done like they've done videos of themselves and they're like the little pet bird too. And so
Yeah.
it's very interesting imagery and a interesting topic of discussion. I would be really interested to know kind of where that idea originated from.
Yeah, I'm so curious. If you do some research, we should talk about that in the next episode.
Yeah, okay, well. Yeah, I had meant to. I was doing so much research just on the past and the history
Yeah.
that I got distracted. Another book this reminded me of was Only Ever Yours, which again, and this book is not, like, it deals with brothels and stuff and the idea of women being just used for pleasure, I guess.
Yeah.
In the sense of that's what a brothel is. Only Ever Yours, the idea behind that book is like it's a school for women where they're trained to become the perfect partner. And that one is, I believe the author is Irish. She is Louise O'Neill. But that one was another one this reminded me of, just in that sense of like, yeah, it was just a similar style to me. Like very dark, very disadvantaged characters. I kind of went on a trend for a little bit where I was reading books like that in these parallel universes.
Interesting. I'm really intrigued by both of these books that you're...
Yeah, I would really strongly recommend them. I think they're both young adult, but I like the themes in which they deal with. It's just mind-blowing. I love them. And then finally, another book that it reminded me of. So the other one was The Memory Collectors by Kieran Neville. And it wasn't, I mean, the theme is not quite the same, but just the main character really, really reminded me of this one, and the just kind of jumping around a bit. I just got similar vibes. I can't quite explain that, but maybe if you've read both, you would have a better feeling on it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I would like to read the other one and see if I kind of get that same feeling. But from what you've told me, and the oddities that Alice acquires, they do sound, and how she, feels stuff.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like the main characters of like how both of them, they just seem really distant. Like they don't have much emotion at all when they're speaking, and there's reasons for that in both characters, but I was like, oh, this is the same person.
Interesting. Oh, I'm so curious.
Yeah, I do recommend all of those books. I would recommend. My favorite was definitely probably Only Ever Yours. Well, now Slashed Beauties, I would put that at the top. But.
Yeah, cool. Well, now I have more books to add to my to-be-read list.
Okay, so quotes. You said you did not have any quotes yet?
Not yet, but I will. Do you want to share any of yours?
Yeah. I have so many, so I'll try and limit myself.
Well, we can share more next time, too. Well, obviously, I will. But if you want to put, like, 3 or half in this one and half in the other, that might be fun. Okay. I'm not hurt, but shocked. It is difficult to fathom how one happy moment can be turned so violently to become the exact opposite. It's so true.
Yeah, it's just so sad, and I guess if you've, like, lived through a traumatic event that has been happy and just turned so violently, like, it's just so truthful.
That's a good one.
Okay, this one's a little bit long, but I feel like it's all necessary.
Okay.
I see her as a feeling, a sensation. She is fear, dread. The nameless sensation that begins in girlhood, when the eyes of men suddenly change and become predatory. The unsettling realization that a place is too quiet, the night too ominously dark. There, laid out on the table, for all to see, the truth that lies unspoken between the sexes.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
That's so true. That one, like, sunk in.
So in that, because I think that you left it kind of around that scene, right? So,
pretty much just right after that.
In the author interview, she did say that at that moment, like when you're viewing that first original wax model, really look at how each character is viewing her, because it talks about how each of them feels about it, and that really highlights who they are as characters. And so this was the quote I just read was from the main character, Eleanor.
Yes, that was very interesting, because that is where I ended off, was they just left, and the difference between all three.
So yeah, it really gives you a more. I felt like more insight into their brains. I wish I had heard that. I mean, if you are observant reader, you would have picked up on it anyway. But I did, but I didn't say, okay, let's look at like how they're actually viewing this.
Yeah, it does speak a lot how they act.
Yeah.
It's a really good one though. That was very unsettling.
And I feel like it speaks to such a truth that a lot of females would probably resonate with, like that, just how it changes, how your worldview changes all of a sudden.
And I think that's why that one is so sticky in our brains, that quote, because
when it's just too quiet, like it's crazy, this like fear that you have to live with constantly.
Yeah, just walking alone outside when you're just trying to get to your car.
Yeah, like all the things that you have to consider before making a trip, like, is this path well viewed enough? Is it too dark out? Is there good enough lighting?
Yeah.
Are you walking too close to me?
But that's a big one. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna give this one and then I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
All right. And I think it kind of speaks to like how I was speaking about, or how we were speaking about, how this book does not glamorize the past.
No.
It's like the past, I say. Sometimes I forget what it was like to live in a village, to be surrounded by nature, quiet. But I try not to romanticize history. It's far too easy to gloss over the poverty, disease, hunger, cold.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of horrible things in history that we only glamorize some of it, but there's so much that we don't pay attention to.
No, I think I saw like a post last night that said, when did I wish I could say it exactly, but something along the lines of like, when did America stop caring about people or whatever, or like, or start. Oh, I wish I could remember the quote, but it was something like people were just laughing at people in pain, and they were like, when is this normal? When did we start doing this? And it's like, well, actually, historically, we always have.
And so that's been around since the Earth started.
Yeah.
Having people on it.
I would like to think we do it less now, but maybe we just do it in different ways.
I think it's that. I think it's all just in different ways.
I think as a culture, you kind of have to accept, like, we as humans enjoy laughing at other people's struggles in certain ways, whether it's through, like, fiction or gossip or whatever. It's just historically something that's been around that we've done.
Yeah, and it hasn't changed in the grand scheme. It's changed how we do it, but not actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to comment on it and be like, do you remember the public hangings?
Yeah.
No, you don't, because I don't either.
I don't remember in the slightest, but
I wasn't alive for that. No, I did. Okay, so, like, I obviously really enjoy historical fiction. I did say I like to, when I'm reading a book, if I feel that there is enough research or enough, like if it has enough factual evidence, I guess, or enough, things that I can actually learn from it, I like to research how reliable the author is so that I know, do I need to research every single fact?
Yeah.
Or can I feel safer with this author? And it does, A Rushby, she does do a lot of research, and I really commend that. When I was trying to just research certain topics from the book, I did find that they paralleled with what she was saying in the book and with the actual history. So that was cool. Like, you have to take it with a grain of salt because obviously this is fictional, and it's in a fictionalized, like it's not even set in the 1900s as we know it. It's a fictional version of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, she takes real historic items into this new world.
Yeah. So, but I enjoyed how she did that, and I found it very entertaining.
Yeah, well, this book I've done more diving in than I have with other books, especially about these anatomical Venuses, is I actually found some articles on that, and it's like, no way, this is sickening.
Yeah, so what did you find out about those? Or
that they're real things that people had created for medical reasons.
Yes.
And the pictures of it, they look real.
They do, and they're uncomfortably sexualized.
So much so.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, they are a real thing, and they were the inspiration for the novel. I guess you'll be able to find, so some of them, because I did look up anatomical Venuses, and I tried to look at some images because she did see images, obviously she saw them, and that's kind of what the novel's based off of. But there were some I could find, because the main characters, this isn't a spoiler, were made wax figures. Yeah. Or there were wax figures made of them. Yeah. I think that's the whole theory of the novel.
Yeah, like the pictures I found online of them looks like they're real women that were just killed and waxed over and turned into this immortal being of a medical device.
Yeah. So I did find some of them kind of seemed, I was like, oh, this is this character's wax figure when I looked at them later. So tell me if you, at least one of them.
Okay, I'm gonna have to pay attention to that because I don't know. Some of these wax figures that I did see online do have necklaces.
Yeah, they have the pearl necklaces. It's ridiculous, and like their little feet and toes are all curled, and it's creepy.
Yeah, and the positioning of them does make them look like they are in like this ecstasy state.
But then they have their guts ripped out.
Yeah, which makes me, once I saw those pictures, I hadn't gotten to the part where we figured out the title and stuff, which is pretty obvious, but I didn't catch it. But when I read the article, that's when I connected all the dots.
They were actually called Slashed Beauties.
Yeah. So
I didn't connect the dots either. I thought because they were doing the slashing. That's what I thought.
Yeah, same.
So, what was I going to say? Okay, so the author, when she was doing her interviews and she spoke about this, she said, these Venuses are a combination of science and art. And it's just kind of, she keeps saying like a violent collision of the two. And I really like that wording, that phrasing, because like she had said, like we're not used to seeing art and science mixed together in that way. And so then it becomes more of a, because right off the hop, you're uncomfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as a concept, if you're going to be mixing art with science, I mean, a lot of art is very uncomfortable. So is it, I don't know how to word it. Like, I'm not going to say is it incorrect, but like, I guess, I don't know. It's a weird feeling, like she's not wrong. It's a weird thing to inquire about, like when art and science meet.
Yeah, and it is done very brutally.
Yeah, I think that certainly it brings a lot more intrigue, and the whole theory behind these anatomical Venuses was to bring intrigue. They said, oh, men cannot be interested in science.
Yeah. Yeah, I really am so curious to finish the book and just, because I have so many ideas of how this all goes about, but I don't even know if I'm on the right track, but there's so many ways it could go.
Yeah, I had some theories off the start, and the author did say there's a twist, and that even her editors hadn't guessed the twist, so if that keeps you guessing.
Well, it's going to keep me guessing for sure. But yeah, I think that it's more art than science.
Yeah, I would agree. I have very uncomfortable, very mixed emotions about it.
Yeah, it's something I would more expect to be on display at a museum.
Yes, yeah, not in that's okay. So certainly it's not professional.
No. And then it's, again, the sexualization of women.
And I think that if you bring that, so combining art and science in this way, certainly it makes a statement and it can be used to create discussion, but I don't think that there's a place for it in professionalism because it's just pushing things a certain way.
Yeah. Like, where are the anatomical Venus version of the men's anatomy?
Could you imagine?
I mean,
maybe there is.
I don't really want to go looking, but
maybe it wouldn't be in a museum. I don't know.
Maybe those. But either way,
I guess it's because I don't know if we've talked about it on any of our recorded ones, but we've talked about issues with women's health and kind of how there's not as much. It's not where we want it to be, certainly.
No, they have learned nothing from these models.
No, but I guess it shows how far we've come.
That's disappointing. This was centuries ago. We should be farther along. Because like even the real life ones were centuries ago.
Yeah. So, I guess, do we want to talk a little bit more about the historical things mentioned in this novel?
Do we want to do that now, or do we want to talk about it in the spoiler one, where we can talk about it more freely? And actually, use names and stuff, and...
Yeah, that might be fun. Yeah, I don't know, because I did a lot of research on, these pleasure gardens, and just the time period, as well as the, do I have the list of it? What was it called? Their little...
How did I say it? Like the surreal? Like the fancy...
The Sorel or Saray or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you found some information on that one.
Yeah, it took me a long time to figure it out because I'm listening to it on audio and I didn't know how to spell anything. But I finally found it, and yeah, it's a very fancy upper class brothel. Like super fancy.
That's really... I'm going to have to research it more. Because when I researched it, I just typed it into Google. It came up with something different. So I would like to hear more about that.
Yeah, like when I typed it in, it's spelt differently than how it sounds because it's a different like version of it. But
Okay.
At the end of the day, in all my deep search of that, it is the same thing. It took me a long time to figure it out.
So yeah, we can talk about that now or later. I also wanted to mention, the list that was mentioned. I'm trying to find the
Yes.
name of it. Do you remember it, or what the women were called?
Probably in my search history. I was very fascinated because I didn't realize this book was a historic novel until
No, I didn't.
I started reading it. And heads up, the first bit of this book is really confusing, so just push through and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I do agree. It's like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Where are we? Where are we going? What's going on?
Yeah, it was quite confusing at first, but...
And even still, like, I think it's intentionally done to confuse you later on as the book goes on. This jumping of timelines.
Very true.
Okay, so the Covent Garden Ladies. Let me see what the official name of that list.
Yes.
Okay, Harris's list. Do we want to talk about Harris's list a little bit?
Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll save some of the other historic stuff for the other one. We'll just do a couple drop of things to get you a little more interested.
Okay, so Harris's list is mentioned in the novel, and it turns out that it is in fact a real list that existed. It was published according to the site, 1757 to 1795, and it was published on, I don't know the historically accurate term, they called them the Covent Garden Ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, just kind of like women of the night in that area, and it had a lot of entries. I think at one point it said like 150.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw too.
Yeah, so there was this is a big... Later on it got more exclusive, but they were just entries detailing these women, and I do really recommend just looking at some of the examples of it, because it's quite...
It's awful. The way that they're describing some of these women, like, I know there's better words to describe that, but I was appalled by some of the ways that they were like, oh, if this is what you're looking... Like, the lurid detail that they have about them is just, like...
It's bad. I mean, it's like... So it's like a catalog.
Yeah.
A catalog for women, but not their wife-like materials, right? Like, these are not women you're going to make your wife. You might keep them in high keeping, but...
Yes, you might keep them around, but I saw somewhere, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but they sold in, like, that one city 8,000 copies annually, give or take.
Yeah, and it was fairly expensive, actually. So people, like, I don't have the exact quote here, but it was saying, like, middle income people, this would be quite an expenditure for them to buy this.
Wow.
Yeah, because you have to also think about publishing at that time.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's our quality literature for the era.
Yeah. Like, what are some of the things that they would talk about? What would they describe in the entries? I mean, I know a couple of the answers, but I want to hear what you found.
So before that, let me just see. There used to be, before this existed, there were other editions of it. So during this time, it was kind of glamorized, or it was normalized.
Normalized?
Maybe not a word, but this sex industry, like getting prostitutes, going to brothels, it was more normalized, it was more beautified. It was later on, it started to become, I'm not a historian, but just from the research I did, later on it started to become more frowned upon, but at this time it was like a cool, popular thing to do. Probably, maybe something that you would hide from your wife, but don't.
Yeah, maybe. They probably all knew what was going on.
Yeah, no, but I just mean like it was like less frowned upon than it was later on. So there were other editions of this, and some of the names are quite... I would recommend looking it up. I'm not going to mention it here because I don't want... One of them is a cuss word. But yeah, like, shows the level of respect for the people in which it was written on. And this is just I just have to mention it. Most of these women, because it was like they were viewed as like lower, I'm not sure exactly how I want to mention this, but because of their line of work, they were viewed as lower life forms. But the reason that most of these women ended up in this line of work was because men had taken it.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that is aggravating. Because, like, they didn't sign up for that necessarily. They just got pushed into it because...
These women were tricked, a lot of them, and then they ended up stuck now, having to do this and then also being judged upon it. Oh, it made me so mad. So mad. All right, so let's hear some of these. So it would give the women's addresses and their names.
Awful.
So that
That's
you
so
could
awful.
locate them, of course, right? So these are just some quotes on them. Her features, this is P, number 26 Upper Newman Street. Her features are good, except her mouth, which is a little too wide, especially when she laughs, which is pretty often. So that one's what's the word, PG? So very often they didn't enjoy women who laughed too much, who drank too much, swore too much, or sometimes they did. There were some women that were like, oh, this is great, she does this, it's great. Maybe give him a banana. Okay, here's another one. This is Mrs. Vi. But she cannot be admired on account of her charms, for she has very few. Indeed, we are so blind that we cannot discern any. She is tall and lusty, and has a dead eye and a flattish nose, and good teeth.
I mean, good teeth.
They talk about the teeth a lot. So, holding him by the way, he's not just...
Yeah, I figured. I was assumed as much.
Okay, so I guess we'll just do this one as the last one.
Okay.
This is Mrs. Will. Her hands and arms, her limbs indeed, in general, are more calculated for the milk carrier than the soft delights of love. So
I don't really like these.
The whole entry on this woman was talking about, just her size and her appearance, and she was not. It's just really interesting, where, like, even when they did compliment a woman, they'd be like, hopefully she doesn't, do this and lose her beauty or whatever. One of them, they talked about, she's too old, but she's willing to do things because she's so old and she misses being beautiful. It's quite affronting.
Yeah. And didn't they also add in sometimes, it's like, if they can sing and dance and some of their special talents?
They're little things that they brought to the table.
Yeah. Like...
Yeah. I recommend, like, you can read them all.
Yeah.
And there's a lot. And
very
the ones
curious.
that I read are mild. They're quite mild.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe that they go into probably some quite detail about certain things, so...
They do. It's so sad, too.
Yeah.
And what I'm curious about is, these authors, because at this time, there wasn't as much information on sexual health, right?
True.
So, like, this character, the characters get examined by a doctor in this novel, but it's not like what we have nowadays. And I remember even in the one relatively recent, and it was AIDS, right? There was an AIDS epidemic.
Yeah.
And even then, they didn't know what was causing this.
Yeah, we read that one last year. The Immortalists?
Yeah, the Immortalists, right.
Yeah.
Do you remember I wish I remembered the exact year.
Yeah, I don't recall what year it was, but
I
think it was when AIDS was becoming a big thing. Like, more prominently talked about, and they were just figuring out about it.
Summer 1969.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so even they didn't know much about sexual health, and so when I'm reading these entries and I'm thinking about the author, I'm just like, was this first-hand knowledge? These 150 women?
Yeah, where is this information coming from?
Another thing mentioned in these lists, they've mentioned royalty, who engaged with whom, or what they had to say about it. Because, of course, that's like a little celebrity acknowledgement, and I guess as a woman, you'd probably want their endorsement. But also, they talk about the hygiene of these women, because you'd want somebody fresh, because you didn't have a full understanding of how these things were passed, but they did have a basic idea, I guess, that you'd want somebody cleaner.
Yeah, someone just getting out there.
Yeah. And that was the idea in this book, too. Is it a spoiler to say? So she's, the idea of, selling these women's maidenheads. I
don't think that's a spoiler. I think that's comes up extremely quick, and it might even say that if you Google the book, so... Yeah, that'll be fun to discuss later. Yeah, that'll be something. But we did, you had kind of mentioned that you could have done this book without Alice's perspective. Yeah, I would really, I think, like this book if it was just. I know that Alice brings stuff to the table, and I'm sure that we'll find more about her as the book goes on, and the connections, of course. But as of right now, halfway through the book, I would like it to just be the historic fiction part.
Yeah, I could just, like, I know it's not all perfect or very nice, but I just wanted to live in that more. Like, honestly, when I started the book, and I guess this speaks to my ignorance with the pleasure gardens, I just thought it was like a fake fictional thing.
I was suspicious. I was like, I don't think this is real, but then I'm like, it unfortunately probably must be. And then I Googled it and I was surprised that it was real.
They
So I
were
was like,
like
oh.
the theme parks of the time. These
Yeah.
pleasure gardens. I think I have a quote or something on it. But yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. And when they were at the pleasure gardens, you haven't read the Caraval series, have you?
No.
No, so it reminded me of that kind of like fantastical world though. Of this, like, you've entered a new space. Even though, like, you're still in your town, but it's like totally fantastical.
Yeah. Yeah, when they started mentioning words like automaton and stuff, then it clicked where I'm like, I gotta do some Googling.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty. There was a lot mentioned in this book that was not fictional.
Yeah, I look forward to diving deeper into that with you in the next segment.
I do too, and discussing these Vauxhall pleasure gardens a little bit more. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah. I want to hear what you found about it next time.
Okay, so I guess, for this, finishing this spoiler-free episode, we'll get into some more of the history later. This author, I think it's her 30th book, but this is, I believe, her first under this pen name.
Oh, yes, that's what you said.
Yeah, so she has other books under A Rushby, and I believe one other. And I was able to do some research and figured out that the reason why she did differentiate and create this new title for herself is just because of the contents of this novel. She has some younger books for younger people, and she didn't want it at all to be confused.
That makes sense.
I was thinking about that, and as a parent, you kind of do overlook what your kids are looking at, and if you see, say, a content creator.
Yeah.
But also an author, and you research them, and you're like, okay, this is safe for my child.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's a wise decision. And we had discussed like why authors might write under different pen names, because the Wishing Game was also a different pen name.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it makes sense. That's a really good perspective to talk about it. I never thought about it that way.
So it's not her first novel. I would, just knowing how much she likes history, I would definitely read one of her other ones. She said her and her mother, like, they'll go into museums and often fight over who gets the book idea.
Amazing. I love that.
I love it too. It's so cool. Like,
That's so
what
wholesome.
a great way to get a book idea.
Yeah.
A museum.
I like that.
So wholesome compared to this novel.
Yeah.
So, would you read any of her other novels?
As of where I'm at right now, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you recommend it to others?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would. I want other people to feel this miserable when they're reading a book.
That's the faint heart.
Like, miserable is the wrong word, but I want them to be caught off guard and have this uncomfortable, unsettling feeling.
Yeah. It's very uncomfortable. So uncomfortable.
I want to share the misery.
It's one of those. I think it's joy. I don't know. It's weird to find joy in it because it is generally miserable, this book.
Yep. The whole tone.
The whole tone. And like I thought it happened later, but you're halfway through.
Yeah.
And from that point on, things just get worse. Sorry. Spoiler.
I figured.
Yeah, and yeah, I thought that happened like maybe in the last quarter or no.
No, it's halfway.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would recommend this book, but I would also recommend, if you can handle it, really, really try and put yourself in that character's mind. How are they feeling? How would you feel? Because I think that's how you get the full experience of this one. I mean, obviously all books, but try and live there even if you don't want to.
That's a really good, like, that should be a clip. That's really good review.
And how are you? Are you listening to this book? Are you reading it?
Yeah, it's on audio.
How is the audio?
It's good. I'd rather read it with, like, the book in my hands, but audio is good, and I like the narrative.
I did the first little bit of audio, but it wasn't like the published audio. It was just somebody reading. And so I don't know what the actual audio sounds like. I did the physical, or the ebook, and I did like that. It was really easy to save little pieces that I wanted to look up later.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm missing that right now.
Okay, so I think that's all we've got today.
I think so. I look forward to touching back about this and really jumping in.
I'm so excited. The next one will be a spoiler-full version of Slashed Beauties.
Okay.
I do recommend you read the book. This is one that I'm strongly recommending if you can handle it. Read it.
Yes, push through.
Yeah.
All right, great. So until next time.
Thanks for flipping through pages across the prairies with us. Until next time, keep your tea warm, your bookmark handy, and if you enjoyed today's chat, like, share, and subscribe to join us again.